All right, go for it.
Hey there, I'm Courtney. You guys all know me. I just want to let you know that thanks for joining. And I have been on EHT along with Zahari since February, middle of February. And we're seeing amazing changes in him. His cognitive development is super huge. He is able to follow commands now, follow directions. And before, honestly, he came from Bulgaria, an orphanage over in Bulgaria, and he basically sat in a crib and stimmed all his life for 8 years. And so we're finally seeing an improvement with him, and he's able to focus more at school and to actually get letters sent home saying that he's focusing and he's actually learning stuff. And just the other day, I asked him to take his syringe because he's tube fed. I said, Zahari, take your syringe over to the sink, and he got up from the living room and grabbed it and took it in the sink and threw it in there. And he's blind too, so that is huge because he was able to navigate his way through there. And then I just started my 2 other kids on it. One is Hannah and one is Stella. The 11-year-old, we're seeing a little bit of difference because it's not as fast as Zahari because she's not as traumatized. But Stella had every day at school, for this whole year, she calls me and she's like, I'm being bullied. And I'm like, Stella, you're fine. Just go to school. You're fine. And then the last couple of weeks, she actually has gotten her grades up, and she's not called me one time. So I would put her on, I'd keep her on EHT just for the no phone calls during school. But yeah, I love it. I think it's a life changer, and I look forward to seeing how well it continues to do.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Courtney, for sharing.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Sure. So basically, thank you guys all for coming. My name is Jen Bailey, and I am one of the upline support team for Courtney. And I'm just honored to be able to be sharing with you guys a little bit about this amazing product that we have. We have 5 products, and we're only going to be talking tonight about one of them. And so if you have any interest in hearing about the other 4, absolutely get with Courtney and she can get you information on those. But we're going to just specifically tonight talk about the EHT because it's really made such an impact on her life. And she was just really passionate about sharing that with you guys. And so we actually have another one of our amazing uplines on the Zoom tonight. His name is Steve Keller, and he is a big reason why I got involved in this business. And I was going to share just like a 30-second snippet of what Miriam has done for me personally. I'm a stay-at-home mom of 5. Homeschool my kids, ages 21 down to 7. Got started with this about 3.5 years ago. Because my husband was working ridiculous hours in the plumbing industry, was never home. We were on food stamps, Medicaid, any kind of assistance we could get. And I had never done any kind of direct sales before, but tried one of the initial products with this company. It's an anti-aging skincare line. Was thoroughly impressed with it. I mean, I'm almost 45 years old, and I know I don't look it, and I give all the credit to Miriam. And it was just an amazing thing what it did for me, and I saw the potential in this for my family, and so we jumped on board. And basically in 3.5 years, I was able to triple my husband's income, bring him home from his full-time career, earn a $50,000 bonus, and help a lot of other people get into a free car. We all have free Lexuses. We have 50-something on the team. And change a lot of people's skin. And now that we have EHT, we're changing a lot more than skin. And so it's just been really wonderful and a really wild ride. And we'd love to get more information about that side of it with anybody that would like that. Tonight's not going to be business focused. It's just going to be EHT, but we always love to share a story in there just to, if anybody has any interest in the business side, we'd love to, share that with you separately. But for now, without any further ado, I'm going to introduce Steve Keller. He has an incredible background. He's a tremendous mentor for me in holistic health and emotional coaching and all kinds of wonderful things. And we call him our resident EHT specialist because he just really, really is passionate about it. And he's really great about sharing the testimonials and whatnot. So you guys are going to get to hear some awesome testimonials, and also, I lost y'all. Oh shoot. No. There we go. And also, there we go. And also look through he's going to go through some slides just explaining about the product and everything. So Steve, I'm going to go ahead and let you speak for a minute, and when you're ready, I'll screen share and go into the EHT slides.
Awesome. Well, a little bit of my background, I've been very into holistic health and doing it business-wise for about 20 years, but it really stemmed from my mom having terminal cancer and beating it using a lot of nutrition and lots of prayer. And about 4 years ago, I was kind of in a very transitional phase of my life. I don't know if you've ever been there. You're like, okay, what's next? Right? And about 4 years ago, I just said a simple prayer. I said, okay, God, I'm ready for the next thing. And when I made that prayer, about a week later, someone called me about Nirim, because what I was really looking for is I was looking for something that would bless my friends. And for about 3 years, the Nirim business did a phenomenal job at doing that. Jen Bailey is just one of about 5 stunning stories on my team of this business totally transforming their life. But my wife and I have always been very, very geared towards helping people nutritionally. Been very passionate and excited about that. And 3 years ago, when EHT came in our life, we knew it was really an answer to prayer. And kind of long story short, in our family, everyone from my 83-year-old dad, who used the product for 2 weeks and called me up and said, hey, he goes, he said, I can remember my 12-digit library card number now without pulling it out of my wallet, which I was like, that's pretty cool. Everyone down to my 14-year-old daughter, who before EHT, getting her to do her math homework, she's homeschooled, was like an all-day drama, right? And as soon as she started taking EHT, it was like, boom, working. And in fact, all my kids love the product. For me, it's been life-changing in a simple way, in that when I take EHT, I don't struggle to get out of bed in the morning. Like, I sleep great, right? That's not a problem. The getting out of bed, that's the problem. And I always thought that I could conquer life if I could just be like a morning person, right? But it just never happened. And with EHT, I'm awake and I'm ready to get going. It's been incredible. And some of the stories like Courtney's are not an isolated thing. These are over and over and over and over and over. There's a young girl in our church who's has just major health issues. She's on a feeding tube. She's fully disabled, in a wheelchair, dystonic, all the things with that. And she took the product for a while, and her doctor, who's a medical doctor but also very holistic, showed her parents a before and after brain scan and said, see right here, this is the improvement in her brain function, because I'm giving all the credit to EHT, and I'm extremely interested in taking the product myself. So that's a bit. Jen, why don't you go ahead with the slides, and I'll kind of give a brief overview of what it is.
All right.
Currently, all I see is your totally cool hairdo, which you do look fabulous, by the way.
I know. Thank you. I had to go off video for a minute because I had to move rooms because people started getting home and I didn't realize they were going to. Hang on one sec and let me do this. So this is
Yosemite, by the way, in California, with Half Dome and El Capitan there.
Sorry, I'm having issues here. All right, that was the first one that was supposed to be there. Okay, I apologize. We were going to do this on PowerPoint, and my PowerPoint stopped working, so I have to manually do this. But go for it.
All right. Perfect. So a little bit about EHT. EHT was developed in the laboratories at Princeton University over about 20 years by a guy named Dr. Jeffrey Stock. So Princeton University owns the patents on this product. The product is licensed to a company called Signum Biotech, which is a biotech company owned by Dr. Stock and his son. And Nirim International, we have the actual marketing rights to it. And a little bit of background on that, Dr. Stock spent 20 years researching how your brain ages. And he was extremely motivated because they had a very long history of age-related life-altering memory issues. We'll say that, okay, just to be compliant. And he figured, if I don't figure out what's going on with this in our family, I will probably be next. And so next slide. So EHT, what he did is he noticed that there was a really interesting amount of research with coffee. seem to have provide some really significant health benefits, and you really wondered, okay, what's actually in coffee that's doing this? And what they did is they isolated an ingredient in coffee. It's not caffeine. I like to tell people EHT is the magic ingredient in coffee that you always knew would give you superpowers, but you could never drink enough coffee before getting over-caffeinated to get enough of this magic. Anyone ever do that? They're like, if I could just have more coffee, I could do everything. And then you're like, oh, crap, I just over-caffeinated myself. I did that the other day. There's that fine line on how late to drink coffee in the day, and I exceeded that the other day, and I was like, oops. But so a very simple way to explain it, this ingredient regulates something called PP2A, which is your body's master regulator. And a master regulator just means it's something in your body that turns certain functions down and certain functions up when you need to. It's kind of like a thermostat in your house. It turns the air conditioning on or the heater on, depending on what's going on. And so when you can take something that regulates your body's master regulator, you can impact a very wide range of things. One of the very important things it does is it resurfaces something called tau on your neurons. So just think of if you get, and you can go on to the next slide, just think of if you have split ends, okay? And when you have split ends in your hair, sometimes you'll take a very high quality protein conditioner, which will kind of go over and resurface your hair, and all of a sudden your split ends are gone. And that's similar to what EHT does. EHT activates proper tau protein formation. So think of the covering and lining on your neurons so you have good connections. One of the really cool things that we find is for some people, you can get really quick results. The reason for that is that if you're dealing with a neurological issue, sometimes you don't have to rebuild a system in the body. If you've ever used a nutritional approach, sometimes it can take quite a while. With EHT, often what we see, especially if you'll take enough initially, often what we'll see is just it's more like plugging something in, right? And all of a sudden it works better. So the legal things that we can say about it is it promotes better cognitive function and overall brain health. It fortifies and strengthens natural brain function. It supports neuronal functions. It helps with energy, immune system, and focus. The four simple benefits I like to talk about are it helps you have more energy during the day, better sleep at night, better mental clarity, which comes in all sorts of different ways, and less inflammation in your body. One way I describe it to people is EHT kind of puts your brain on broadband instead of dial-up. Anyone ever super frustrated with life if your internet connection is slow, right? If you want to know someone's character, give them a slow internet connection and ask them to do something, and you'll find out exactly what they're made of, right? And so what I like to tell people is EHT, it kind of gives you more bandwidth, okay? And especially if you're, as a parent, are dealing with kids with special needs or issues or whatever, or even if you just have kids who don't technically have special needs, there's still a huge demand on you as a parent, right? And what we find a lot of times for people is sometimes you'll see people who just because they don't have the bandwidth mentally, emotionally, often what they do is they have to make their life smaller. Does that make sense? They don't want to talk about things. They don't want to handle things. They don't want to deal with this. They just kind of I'm going to make my world smaller because this is what I can handle. And a lot of times with EHT, what people will do is they will just increase the amount they can handle. Like they can handle life better. My brother-in-law is a cardiac anesthesiologist, so he deals almost exclusively every day with people who are trying to die on it, right? It's like a very stressful job. When EHT came along, he was at a new job, so not only normal job stress, but new job stress, new things he had to learn, all sorts of things. And he went from having nightmares that my sister was going to leave him, and they're Catholic, by the way. He went from having nightmares that my sister was going to leave him to having a dream that he was holding hands with the Pope. I mean, that's pretty significant improvement in the state of your dreams. And what my sister says about him, she goes, when he takes EHT, she says, he's the man I always knew he could be. Because instead of coming home from work, super stressed out, and like, I just have to like minimize everything in life just because I can't handle it. All of a sudden he's like, can handle things emotionally, dealing with things. Like it just makes huge aspects of your life much better. So those are just kind of a few of examples of what it's doing for people. Typically what I recommend for people, especially adults, is that you take one EHT tablet twice a day with good fat initially. Because what I like to tell people is, look, I want to make sure you get the results you're looking for. And let's face it, a lot of people who are interested in taking EHT often don't have that long attention span. So I know that we need to get you results pretty quickly, okay? So typically I say, hey, try one twice a day for a week, preferably for a month. When you get the results you're looking for, you can say, cut back the EHT and say, hey, will one a day work for me? Sometimes for people it's like, oh, I do fine on one. Sometimes for people it's like, whoa, time out. No. The 2 a day was life-changing. The 1 a day, not so much. And you can just decide if it's worth it for you. So one box of EHT is $60. That's a preferred customer price. Basically, to become a preferred customer, you just set up an account, no charge with Miriam. You get the product at wholesale. You get it on a monthly basis, but you can call and change, cancel your order, double it, whatever you want to do. It's just really for your convenience, and you're totally in charge of that. And also one thing we do for our customers, sometimes, especially if you have multiple kids, you realize you need to put on this product, but you're not really interested in doing the business. We love our customers. We'll have to take very good care of you. And part of that is if you see on the bottom of the screen, we have a program called 3-Year Free. And that just means if you use the product and love it, and maybe you have a little party and show a video and a couple of your friends are like, hey, this sounds good, I'd like to try it as well. If you have 3 of your friends also using the product, you're in a position to start getting your product for free every month, which is good. And all of a sudden, no matter how stressful your budget is, all of a sudden it starts fitting in very easily. And Courtney, any other thing you wanted me to go over?
No, but what about the 30-day money-back guarantee?
Yes.
That's kind of why I tried it, because I'm cheap.
Perfect. Yes, use it for 30 days. If it doesn't work, just call the company, send an empty box back to them, and they will be happy to refund you money. So, absolutely.
Awesome.
The other comment I'd like to make is a lot of times if some of the parents on here are dealing perhaps with kids with more unique health issues, maybe on multiple medications, or if you're the situation you're dealing with, if you're seeing a lot of doctors, life is kind of complicated. And you're somewhat wondering about adding something else to the mix, here's kind of a simple suggestion I would make. If you feel the need to bring your doctor in on this decision, what I like to suggest people do is simply say to your doctor, show them the ingredients and say, will this hurt my kid? Don't ask them to endorse it, because you understand in the legal environment doctors are operating in, no doctor in their right mind would ever recommend something they don't know about. Even on top of that, a lot of doctors are very timid on recommending nutritional approaches, even if they personally believe in it, because it's not, quote, accepted standard of care, and it puts them in a legal gray area in terms of insurance coverage and different things like that. But if you're concerned, just say, hey, here's the ingredients. Is this going to hurt my kid or interact with anything else he's currently on? So.
I actually did that for my doctor, and I went there and I showed 2 of them actually. The first one, it was a new doctor that I hadn't seen because Zahari had like an ear infection or something. And actually that was the day he, normally doctors scare him. One of the doctors can't even get near him because he like freaks out and stuff. And this little guy, he walked right in. They said, put him on the scale, and he stepped right on the scale, and he walked right into the room, and she was looking down at her clipboard, and she's like, looking up at him, she's like, this isn't the boy that's described in this in his file. And
Wow.
I said, well, it's the EHT because we just started that like a month and a half ago. And she was like, wow, let me see what's in it. And so I had brought the box because I was all prepared, because I had already started in it. So I brought the box, and she's like, wow, there's really nothing in here that's going to hurt him. I mean, and I said, I know you can't recommend, but this could be life-changing for your patients. So maybe if you kind of keep it in your head. And she was very interested in it. And she actually saw him the next time we went to visit, and we visited another doctor. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's the Hari I was telling you about him. So it's kind of cool. People are seeing the difference that it's making with them.
Yeah, whereas I love putting adults on the product, but personally, my real mission is putting kids on this product, because if I look at a return on investment, putting a kid on this product can totally alter the whole course of their life. Especially, there's so many kids these days who are actually the really smart kids, and they're in an environment which makes them feel like the stupid kids. Just because they're bored and they're way ahead of the teacher and they're just not focused. And what we're finding this product is helping them focus. They're going from feeling like the dumb kids to realizing that, wow, they're actually smart and they're not having disciplinary issues and they're fitting in better. And goodness, I've had so many parents talk about their kids who had such poor social skills before EHT that they wouldn't interact and didn't have friends, and all of a sudden with EHT they're picking up on, you understand, they're picking up on social cues from other people. They're able to handle physical touch and interaction with people emotionally and physically, and it's just totally opening up their whole world too. Yeah, and a couple moms whose kids had never hugged them at all before EHT. One of them, he took the product one time. The next day, hugged his mom for the first time. He was 8 years old. Another lady, it took her kid about 10 days. And she said, my son, you would say to him, oh, you mind if I sit down next to you? He'd go, oh, sure, no problem. She goes, but as soon as you sit down next to him, he'd get up and walk away, right? And after 10 days on EHT, she realized, oh, he was hugging her and interacting. And she's like, do you mind touch now? He goes, oh, no. She goes, did you always want a hug? He goes, yeah, I always wanted a hug, but my body would never let me, but now it is.
Oh.
So that's
crazy.
That's incredible. So any questions for me on that? One other suggestion for you, if I find a lot of times parents who are dealing with special needs kids, you've had to learn to take a massive amount of personal responsibility for your kid's health, and so you tend to do a little more research than the average parent. If that's the case, the simple thing you can do is simply Google tau protein, T-A-U, protein, and you can Google tau protein and then tag on any issue you're interested in, if that makes sense. Like, I wonder if it will help with, just go tau protein, boom, tag it on there. And when you do that, realize that Dr. Jeffrey Stock from Princeton University is the doctor who really started the whole conversation about tau protein in the first place. So that's anything you see on that, it's directly related to what we're doing with this product, even though it's not a drug and we can't really tell you what it does.
For me being on it, I actually can tell if I don't take it because my box kind of ran out and it was a weekend, so it was shipped, but it took a little while to ship. And so I was out of it for like 2 days because I gave my 2 to Zahari because I really want him on it more. But I could tell a difference at work because my to-do list wasn't like nearly getting done, and I was constantly on Facebook during work and stuff. And then actually I have another friend on it at work. She's an executive at the hospital I work at. And she actually came to me and I told her about it, and then she bought it from another friend I think that she does. But she bought it and she came to me and said, man, I am cranking out the PowerPoints. I can't believe it. It's incredible. Like my focus, I didn't even think there was focus issues, and I'm finding myself really able to engage in what I'm teaching these classes and stuff. So she's really excited about it. She's hoping to get her mother on it who's got dementia. So
very cool. And we're also having tons of professional athletes, especially football players, get on the products because they're like, hey, as a living, my brain's gotten sloshed around a little too much, over and over and over, and I'm having, side effects from that. And they're like, wow, this product has really, really radically altered my life. And so not only from a recovery standpoint, but from a preventative standpoint going forward, that and results with vets who experience a lot of trauma in combat and has like turned their life upside down. I mean, it's just stunning what it's doing for these people. So
it's amazing to me, all the different age brackets. I mean, this literally is helping everything from children, to mommy brain, to workout recovery, to, like you said, people, that have, severe mental decline in their older age, memory issues and all that. It's just fascinating to me how it can be such a fix-all for all these different types of issues. And the testimonies are crazy. They're wonderful. Such a blessing.
There are. Sometimes we go, yeah, that's a cool story, but I cannot tell anyone that.
Very true. Very true.
Very true. So awesome. Well, thank you so much. If you have any questions down the road, I'm definitely available. Very easy to get a hold of. You can add me as a friend on Facebook and message me, and my phone number is also on my Facebook profile. And I look forward to hearing your kids' results as well. And just like my kids, has been just awesome. My son, I'm going to go see him in a play. He's turned into a theater nerd and starred in 2 plays this month. And wow, he's like, the EHT has helped him do a phenomenal job memorizing this line. Crazy amount of stuff he had to learn.
That's great. Well, thank you, Steve, so much. We appreciate your time and value it tremendously. As he said, if anybody has any further questions, we can connect you with him. And if anybody has any questions about the other products or the business opportunity here, please let Courtney or Catherine know, and we can get you the answers you need. If anybody'd like to talk to me personally, I'd be happy to do a phone call as well. And I hope you guys have an awesome evening. Thanks for joining us.
Yep. Thank you very much, guys.